Hydra Dominatus. Experts in clandestine operations and infiltration. Are they even chaos, or is this just their greatest deception? We don't know. I only know they are very fun to paint, and even though they are mostly painted with a silvery coat and contrast paints, I wanted to do something different. Something in my old style. I found this very cool picture that was very appealing to me, as it has this slightly purpley tone to it, which some of you may know is my weak spot. So I decided to recreate it. I still wanted it to be fast, and oh boy, I totally miscalculated it, as I had Mr. Alfarius here finished in just half the time. I painted some Horus Heresy era iconography on them, like these chains and the iconic Alpha symbol. We start with a black prime miniature and just smash on Hexed Lichen all over it. While the paint is still wet, we take out blue-green, mix it together with the purple and do a light wet blend right onto the mini. Using a wet palette helps us to see the color right before applying it. As you see, I use a brush here that barely can be called as such, but it helps randomizing the colors. Adding a bit of wolf grey in the mix, just to slightly brighten up some of the focus points like the chest and head area. And while you see me painting, I would love to encourage you to leave a like or a subscription. Maybe check out the links down below, as this really helps out. Using Black Legion contrast for all the joints, leather parts and the bolt weapon. For the fabrics we need wolf grey with a tiny bit of Black Legion to give it a foundation that's slightly greyish, maybe even silvery. I really didn't have my mind up until this point if I really wanted the leathers to be black or just a brown color, which can look very good as well on a blue marine. So while the first coat on the fabric dries, we paint the leathers black. Coming back to the loincloth again, adding more and more wolf grey and white at the upper parts and the darker tones towards the bottom of the fabric. We wet blend these colors together until we have a smooth transition from grey to white. We want this to be as clean as possible to achieve the look from the picture. We can add some white dots just to give it a hint of texture. We edge highlight the leathers with a similar looking grey. We are painting the trim using dark silver by Pro Acryl. This is the point that takes most of our time because we want to be neat here, since the color matching can be a bit tricky if we do some mistakes. So tell me your opinion, are these guys chaos or are they not? Or are they even chaos in just the pure definition of the word? After we're done, we meticulously shade the trim following its shapes. We want to have a little, and I cannot emphasize this enough, just a little bit overspill onto the blue armor where the trim ends to separate it nicely from the armor. Once that's dry, we highlight some parts of the trim using a bright silver, focusing on the edges to make them nice and shiny. If we've made some mistakes on the way, now it's time to clean them up. And now I have to apologize, as it seems I was sabotaged as well. So much for storytelling. Somehow the multifocus of my cam decided to mainly focus my hand. That's why some of the footage is a bit blurry and I had to record a new one. If you still want to see the footage, you'll find it at the end of this video. But anyway, we need light emerald and ghost green, and we carefully paint 2 X's underneath as it is the 20th Legion. And since the last time I had to write an alpha was back in high school, I had to practice this one first on the base, and it still ended up looking more like an A in the end. The chains turned out to be very easy, to be honest, and they even worked with a bit of coffee and slight tremor. We just need to paint 2 lines next to each other with a bit of room between them, followed by a single line, and so on. We only make sure that these are overlapping very slightly. I don't know where it came from, but I was very confident to be able to do this, but one can definitely practice this one on the base as well. The Alpha Legion is more or less always depicted with either red or green eyes. I did a poll on Instagram just to see your opinions about it. I still felt more towards the red eyes, as they stood out a bit more in my taste. If you want to paint yours green, I'd recommend using a white, covering the whole area, and do a contrast paint like Striking Scorpion or Warp Lightning. For these eyes we simply need Gory and Wildrider Red. Firstly, we are covering the entire area around the eyes with Gory Red, waiting for it to dry, and finish them with just painting the lenses themselves with Wildrider Red. I was surprised how fast I was finished with this one, as the raw material of this tutorial was about 50 minutes. That's 20 to 30 minutes less than I usually have. But anyway, I salute you at this point, and if you want to see the rest of the footage, here it is, and by then we see each other in the next one.